I know. Formerly known as the voice of PBC, now the voice of boxing, DAZN, and obviously now PBC. Talk about the experience and how that job came about.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is I work for World Boxing Super Series. They called me, they asked me if I had these dates available. I do. So I'm doing events for World Boxing Super Series on DAZN. Also called a fight for Matchroom Boxing alongside Brian Campbell a few weeks ago. So, you know, if they call me and I'm available, more than willing. I mean, I think this is a great time for boxing. There's so much programming out there. You have ESPN Plus, DAZN, PBC on Fox, PBC on Showtime. I mean, there's so much content out there. I love football and also boxing, but there's no such thing as too many football games on a Saturday, on a Sunday. And that's what I think is great for fight fans. There are fights that happen at 2 o'clock Eastern time. There are fights that happen during the evening. I mean, it's just a great time for the sport.
And you went to Saudi Arabia?
I did not go to Saudi Arabia.
Oh, you didn't go to Saudi Arabia?
I went to Tokyo.
Tokyo. How was Tokyo?
Tokyo was incredible. I tell you what, now Oya Inoue.
I was about to ask you about his right hand. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. I mean, when he hits you, you're decapitated. I mean, he hit Payano. Payano went backwards and just straight. It was an incredible knockout. This guy's so popular, people were signing up or waiting to take a photo with a cardboard cutout of his before the fight even started. This guy's like bigger than a boy band out in Tokyo. That's how massive Inoue is.
Really?
He is huge. We were getting in cabs and they would ask us in broken English, what are you here for? We're like, oh, we're here, you know, for boxing, you know, Inoue. And they're like, oh, Inoue. Everybody knows who this dude is out there. He is, I mean, literally, they call him the monster. He's a big monster out there. He's a massive success out there.
Now, since you're on both sides of the fence, people want to say, how can we get these unification bouts with people on different sides of the street, as people eloquently have said?
I think it's going to happen. I tell you why, because when there's opportunity, I'm a firm believer that everyone right now involved in boxing are smart business people. Everyone has their own platform. You know, you have, you know, Matchroom with DAZN, you know, you have PBC with Fox and the Showtime deal, Top Rank with the ESPN deal. The smart financial decision, I think, will come to the forefront. I think people are starting to use their heads more, unifications are going to start to happen, and I think we're going to see a lot of that in 2019, and it's great for the sport.
Now, DAZN, so you're just doing a WBSS?
I'm doing the WBSS on DAZN. I did one fight on DAZN for Matchroom Boxing that I did, that was over there, that I did here in the States.
What's the conversation with Steven Espinoza? Have you ever had a conversation with Steven Espinoza? Because they're like rivals, you know, per se.
No,
you know?
The thing is that I love all the people that I work for. Everyone's cool with me working with everybody else. Beautiful. As long as it doesn't, you know, conflict. This is, I mean, I'm so thankful to all the people I work for, because I never have those discussions. Never is it even brought up. And I think there's a lot of talent out there behind the camera and commentator-wise, and it's great for us to be able to work in different places. There's so much work to go around for everybody.
And I don't know if you can give a prediction, but break down. We got the big fight in LA December 1st, and I know how much you love LA based on our last interview.
Well, now I live in LA, so I'm a resident.
Where'd you move here?
I'm a resident. I moved here about a month and a half ago.
Oh, somebody else is happy because you moved.
Exactly. The girlfriend's very happy.
Okay, I didn't want to say it, but you let it out. Okay, now December 1st, we got Wilder Fury. How do you like that matchup?
I think it's an excellent matchup, and people were saying, why isn't this fight happening in New York or whatever? Look, I love the Barclays Center. The Barclays Center to me is the crown jewel for boxing on the East Coast. But this fight has that superstar appeal. Not to say that fights in Barclays Center, but there have been a lot of fights at Barclays Center this year. Let's give some to the West Coast. You know, we had Santa Cruz Mares, you had Garcia Eastern, now you have Wilder and Fury. Heavyweight championship of the world fight hasn't happened here. Steven Espinoza mentioned in 15 years. The stars are going to come out on December 1. From a technical standpoint, if Tyson Fury is what he was a couple of years ago, he can give Deontay Wilder some problems. But as much as we all talk about the pure boxing ability of Tyson Fury, that right-hand sledgehammer that Deontay Wilder has is something that I haven't seen in well over a decade plus in boxing. When he hits you, you are done. Wilder, all he needs is one shot, and I think he lands it probably between the 7th to the 10th round against Tyson Fury, and down goes Tyson Fury.
I had the analogy of, you can't play dodgeball for 12 rounds, and that's the analogy I use with Deontay Wilder, right? He's going to hit you eventually. You know, that's my makeup. And since we're here, talk about the heavyweight division. We got Dominic Brazil, his press conference. He'll be on undercard December 22nd, which you'll be doing, obviously, that you're here. How excited are you that we got Fox, we got PBC, now we have DAZN, you already mentioned it, but Jermell Charlo, let's start with Jermell Charlo.
Jermell Charlo has an interesting fight against Tony Harrison. People are writing off Tony Harrison. I don't think you can, because he gave a very difficult fight to Willie Nelson, a fight that he should have won. He was fighting Jared Hurd and was doing impressive in the process, but Hurd, as we know, he just wears you down. Losses to Willie Nelson and Jared Hurd, that's okay. Losses happen. But Tony Harrison brings and packs a whale of a punch. The question is, can Tony Harrison remain disciplined for 12 rounds? Jermell Charlo is very fundamentally sound. And I think we saw a new wrinkle to his game when he beat Austin Trout back in June. So now that he's going more towards a puncher, that favors him. But how's he going to be able to respond to the pressure of Tony Harrison? Because now, instead of him fighting forward, he's going to be fighting a guy that's going to come forward at him. So is he going to take a step backwards? Is he going to be more of the counter puncher? What's Charlo's game plan going to be? That's going to be interesting on December 22nd. And it's 3 days before Christmas, so I think we're all in line for a treat.
And Jermell Charlo, 160, obviously saying he was just mandated to fight Triple G at 160. Do you think it's a combination or one or the other? People avoid him, or he just can't get the fights because of the street issue?
I think that this is a stay busy fight for Jermell Charlo. He could have relaxed, stayed on the shelf, gotten ready for these unification fights that you're talking about, because they know that there is, interest on both sides. But he wants Willie Monroe Jr., a stay busy fight, and Willie Monroe Jr. is not easy. He's a slick southpaw that can move. Comes from that Cuban school of thinking. So I think that Charlo is in a fight that is not made to look him good aesthetically, but if he goes out there and finishes off Willie Monroe Jr., I think that's a statement. Because aside from Triple G, no one else has been able to stop Willie Monroe Jr. That is a big statement if you're Jermell Charlo. And you know that this is a guy that's going to give you issues from a movement standpoint. So if Charlo goes out there and really pushes the pace and finishes him, then that's like, okay, Jermell Charlo is really trying to get to that next, that elite level that only people see.
Now, I only heard half the story. Sam told me half the story. How did you get found by PBC and Showtime, etc.? How did that story happen?
I've known Sam Watson for a very long time, for years and years and years. They came into ESPN radio for Mayweather and Canelo press conference. So I went up to Sam, we started talking, he started seeing me around doing undercards, doing FS1 fights, ESPN fights. We started talking, and when opportunities started to present themselves, producers and Sam, and they put my name up to the boss and Al Haymon, and they gave me an opportunity to do ESPN, the Keith Thurman-Luis Collazo fight. And after that, they gave me more opportunities, and from that standpoint, my life has changed forever, thanks to PBC.
Talk about Al Haymon. You mentioned Al Haymon's name. Yes. People don't hear about the non-boxer side that he employs. Can you speak upon that?
I tell you what, Al Haymon is the guy that has changed thousands of lives. And I can see on my standpoint, because without what they've done for me, without PBC's done for me, they changed my life forever. Boxing has given me a life that I never dreamed of. Moving out here to the West Coast, having all these opportunities, being free to work with different entities when we're not busy doing events. That's all thanks to what PBC's offered me, and everyone that I work for being so open to saying, go out and make your money and earn a living. So I'm thankful to them, but Al Haymon has changed my life forever, and what PBC's done for me, I'll always be thankful of. And they introduced me to Steven Espinosa and Showtime, Brian Daly and Chris de Blasio, all those guys. I'm doing stuff on the digital side for them, so I get the best of both worlds because I'm a fight fan. I love being around this stuff. I love watching. So being able to go from city to city all over the world, are you kidding me? It's the best job in the world for a 32-year-old.
Speaking of 32-year-old, you're here in LA. What's some things, we'll wind down, what's some things that you've enjoyed about now, besides the fact it's November and it's 78 degrees outside, 82 degrees?
Going down to the Santa Monica Pier, I live 7 blocks away from there with a girlfriend, enjoying the sun. Happy hours to me are something very different that I didn't experience in Chicago. I love happy hours, I love rooftops, I love brunches. It is the absolute best. Like a 10 o'clock Sunday football game. I'm a Bear fan, so my games kick off at 10. Going to some of the places there, having some breakfast, maybe a beer or two, watching the Bears. This is great. Living in paradise. And paradise comes your way December 1st, Wilder and Fury, Showtime pay-per-view, Staples Center.
Appreciate it. Great segue. So, appreciate you, Ray. Appreciate you, Gabe.
Always a